everybody, what's up? It's Michael Termini with the Game Haus, and today I'm joined by Immortals Revenge. Unfortunately, after a loss versus Team Liquid, I think it's fair to say that this Immortals team has had some struggles, so I guess let's start there. So you guys didn't win a game in lock-in. We're another 0-2 weekend, and I don't mean to say that in a toxic way, but it's like, what is it that seems to be the issue with this team right now? The biggest thing, if you had to like nail it down.
I think it would have to just be around planning mainly, like planning in advance. I think like if our plans, something changes our plan, we don't adapt as fast as we should, which makes it look like we're really disconnected as a team, when in reality it's just like as a team we don't have the right plan to follow. But it does, yeah, it is still really early, I know, but I think we did patch up a lot of our big issues this week, like this coming weeks, especially after lock-in and scrims, and I think that makes this week a bit more disappointing because I don't think we showed that on stage. But yeah, I just think yeah.
Fair enough. So I guess like this, like the team just has like a lot of like I guess core issues that need to get improved in that regard, or do you think it's like if we plan out our stuff better, then we're going to be a team that is going to be able to take games, or do you think it's like just like that one, or is it like numerous issues like stacked on top of each other?
It's kind of hard to say because I think a lot of the ways like every game is different, right? And every game will show a new problem or even show like maybe someone just messes up mechanically individually, right? Like these things are going to happen in skew games, and I just think that maybe, yeah, it is a list of issues that we have to tackle like one at a time, I think. And I do think like we're not like far from getting a win, really. I do think it is, looking at lock-in and looking at spring split, like it does feel bad. We haven't shown any game of being like what I would say like a good team, not my expectations, obviously, right? So it feels extra bad. But my point is I think it's still super early, and we have been improving, in my opinion, especially in practice. So I'm not worried about the trend that we're heading in. Even so, from the outside looking in, it looks really bad.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about our trend. Like when I look at things overall, we are 0-2, and it sucks, but if we continue on the next weeks with wins, I'm sure that like this week won't be what defines us, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not worried.
I mean, next week isn't a cakewalk in terms of teams. It's 100 Thieves and C9, which is pretty brutal, to be honest. So when you're looking at that, it's like, I'm sure most people are going to probably say you're underdogs in those games. So it's like, the fan perspective, if it's an 0-4 next weekend, or maybe heck, you guys take a game 1-3. You think that's like if those games are close, that's turnaround that you want to see, just continual improvement every week, even if it is versus like some of the harder teams?
Of course. I mean, LCS is a marathon, right? Like, I don't know. It obviously feels bad because our team's getting extra negative attention, considering we did bad in lock-in as well. But what people forget is spring split. Lock-in's a different story, right? Like in lock-in, we hadn't even had much time to practice together as a team, and even so, people look at it and go, "Oh, but they had their full roster." It's like, yeah, but we weren't really practiced that much either, right? Right? Like, it's not like we're at like such an insanely high advantage over every other team, right?
Yeah.
And when you look at it, right, like, of course, as the tournament goes on and teams are having more and more time to practice and more stage games together, they're going to look even better than they looked at the start of the tournament, right? So it makes us look even worse. But I was really hoping entering the spring split we could turn that around in the first week, but we didn't, and we have to accept that. So I think the next week, like I said, I know they are tough opponents, Under Thieves and C9, but I still give us a realistic chance to win both the games, and I think that winning them would be, obviously great for our team morale and our team because we haven't won an official yet.
Yeah.
So even then, say we have a really rough start, I'm really confident that as long as we keep our mentals together, we're going to still improve throughout the year, right? Like, I'm really not worried about us improving and becoming a better team as time goes on. I still wouldn't count this out.
All right, fair enough. I appreciate the confidence. Well, let's get to more a fun note. I don't mean to drag it down the entire time.
Sure.
But you guys played Gil Hodo again today. Obviously, your old coach, and you guys have some fun banner on Twitter during lock-in. So what does it mean to you, I guess, playing, your old coach and hoping to beat him and, get a good dub versus him? What is that? Is it a fun cycle, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, it's always exciting, right? Like, I always get this extra ambition to want to win, right? Like I always feel like, oh man, I really want to, it'll feel really, really good. And I was really excited for this rematch after how our last game went. But sadly, we didn't get the win, so it doesn't feel that great. But the spirit of the competition always feels really, really fun for me.
Fair enough.
Considering, he's my old coach and stuff, so.
So what are your thoughts on this Smite top going around? I'm sure you've been asked this 1,000 times by now, but it's always interesting to hear other top laners' opinions on it.
It's really interesting for sure. I mean, it's been being played in solo queue, and even on in these stage games, I don't think it's being played really to like its best potential. Obviously, considering like a lot of people playing it don't even have full practice on it. So what we're even seeing on stage isn't, I think, the strategy completely like how it should be, which makes the games look really wonky. But the strategy looks really interesting, and I think that I wouldn't be surprised if more teams try it out for sure. However, I think I think the strategy has counters to it. I think the strategy has like it's not like an unbeatable strategy in my opinion, but it's definitely looking strong in the 2 games we've seen it. So
fair enough. Do you think it's something that teams are going to be practicing a ton this week, and everyone hopping in solo queue on Champions queue or whatever, playing 1,000 games of it, or do you think it's something that is going to get nerfed and die out?
I think it should get nerfed, and I think it probably will get nerfed because I don't think it's a healthy way to play the game. I don't think Riot wants things to be like wants their like objective bounty system, for example, to be abused, right? So yeah, I think it'll be nerfed.
Like, but what do you think like the way they nerf this type of system is? Because obviously the thing that makes the Smite top so, I guess, cringe in a sense is that it abuses like 4 systems all stacked up on top of each other. So if you remove one, there's still like other parts that are supporting it.
It would have to be TP. TP, maybe reverting the TP changes. It would have to be nerfing the support item in a way, because the support item is a big reason that that's possible. Like maybe matching it to like experience, right? So like if you're like not at a consistent experience level relative to the team or something like that, like they can make the item give you less gold or something, or I don't know, it might be wonky, right? Like there's going to be a lot of holes to it, but I don't know the best way to nerf it completely, to be completely honest. I think it just has to be like either certain top lane champions have to become stronger, or either like TP has to be reverted, or maybe it really is a matter of not allowing a team to have 2 smites being taken.
Or like a support item with a smite character or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, Riot's done, it has implemented things before like that where it's kind of really niche to counter a strategy. Just can't think of one on the top of my head, but they've done it before.
Well, the Smite changes for lane, where you couldn't take like the jungle items for lane.
Right. Yeah. And now if you have the jungle item and you have the most gold or whatever, you're getting less gold.
Monster Hunter, yeah.
Right? Yeah, like that's a perfect example to stop something from breaking the game, right? Which is like funnel strategy. But now we're kind of seeing funnel strategy, but in a different way. Yeah. It's got like a trade-off to it. It's more of like a strategy, and I think Riot has to make the decision if they think this strategy of playing is healthy for the game or not, right?
And we're thinking
they won't think it's healthy.
And we're seeing the funnel not even just in like the top lane Smite, but or like, for example, what C9's doing. I mean, it's not exactly funnel, but it's the idea of having a supportive character in the mid lane just to buff up a carry and stuff like that.
I think that's different. Yeah, that's a lot different than.
But it's the same. It's the same idea of like using champions or supports and stuff in a non-traditional way. But it's interesting. All right, well, that's all I got. I don't want to keep you too long.
No worries, man.
Check out thegamehaus.com for more LCS interviews.